Sean Payton is sick of this Bo Nix narrative. Welcome into your Denver Sports Daily for September 30th. Let's do it.
Taking you through your morning headlines, it's Denver Sports Daily with Rachel V. Hill.
Well, Bo Nix came out and said, our defense came out today and won the game. And to be completely honest, that feels to be the truth. The defense definitely carried this team as Bo Nix and the offense struggled, especially in the first half. The weather affecting them a ton, and Bo Nix didn't look relatively good. Let's just be real. 12 of 25, only 60 passing yards. Yes, you heard me say that correct. 1 touchdown. Bo Nix finally threw his first NFL touchdown pass in his 4th pro start, that going to Courtland Sutton. I remember on Friday, we were all wondering who was going to be the first touchdown pass for Bo Nix in his career, and in fact, it was Courtland Sutton. He had a 67.9 passer rating as well, and Bo Nix, his confidence never seems to fail. And Sean Payton is, well, unfortunately sick of hearing about the fact of Bo Nix's confidence. Take a listen to this one because he definitely got a little frustrated.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the. Yeah, you had to pay attention to the game, and you would say the weather was a factor, with the balls. But we'll look at the tape and try to improve on that.
What was the key to getting?
That's it. I mean,
yeah, but you never lost confidence in
heck
him.
no.
What was the key?
At some point, we'll stop with the confidence. This kid is confident now. I should send him out to dinner with every one of you, and you'll see. He played well.
Personally, for me, I would love to go out to dinner with Bo Nix just to kind of see how his brain functions, how he handles everything, how he's handling the social media talk about him. I could not believe the amount of people that were talking about benching Bo Nix in the first half of the game on Sunday. It was absolutely mind-blowing to see. And yes, the offense struggled. Trust me, I understand that. But the defense luckily kept them in the game. And the Broncos finally got a little bit of a run start going. The Broncos ran for 126 yards on 4.1 yards per carry against the Jets. And Sean Payton gave a lot of credit to Denver's offensive line, saying that those guys up front, I think, were key. And I have to admit, they have looked relatively good, especially surprising considering that Mike McGlinchey has been out for some time now as he went on IR 2 weeks ago. And yet this O-line seems to be clicking in ways that they haven't clicked before, which has been great. Now, some unfortunate news when it comes to the running back room for Denver Broncos running back Tyler Badie. He was carted off of the field on a backboard during the game. So during the last play of the first quarter, Badie was tackled from behind by Jets linebacker Quincy Williams. His helmet went into Badie in the lower back, and Badie had his hand against his lower back while walking off of the field. After making it to the bench, Badie was instructed by Broncos medical staff to lay down, and he was strapped to a backboard and carted off of the field. It was pretty scary to watch as you were watching it on TV. Especially, but you could see movement from his hands. He was clearly talking to the medical staff. He was immobilized and exited on a stretcher yesterday after the game. Coach Sean Payton had no update, but a source with knowledge of the situation said that Badie has movement in all extremities and is expected to be fine. And then Brandon Cristal, BK, as a lot of people, in fact, did know him, saw him on his commercial flight with a Broncos medical staff traveling back to Denver. So he has returned back here to the Mile High City. Obviously a good sign, as BK says, that after he was examined at a New York area hospital, he was able to fly home just behind the team. So good news on that front. Unfortunate news on the fact that he obviously had to be exited out of the stadium on a stretcher, but we're happy to hear he's okay. Sean Payton will be talking to the media here very, very shortly. So hopefully we'll get an update on how long he'll be out, if he will be out at all. So Zach Allen said after the win yesterday that the Broncos obviously missed Alex Singleton, who was put on season-ending IR with a torn ACL. But Cody Barton and Justin Trinad really stepped up, and that's so true. This defense looked really good. Zach Allen goes on to say it's a real credit to Cody than Justin to just come in like that. It was awesome, and we're really proud of them. Cody Barton offered up the information essentially on Friday that he would be wearing the green dot on his helmet, handling the responsibility of relaying Vance Joseph's calls to the rest of the defense. Sean Payton wouldn't say on Friday who it was going to be wearing the green dot, but obviously Cody Barton gets that. So any defensive player with the green dot on their helmets have the radio receiver to hear the play calls from the sidelines, which was really cool. And then Justin Trinad on the very first play sacked Aaron Rodgers, and his thought process on that day was, I'm about to sack Aaron Rodgers. And that is just so cool to see. The Broncos sacked him 5 times, and Aaron Rodgers was definitely banged up all throughout the game, but especially late in the game. He took a hit in the fourth quarter with his team trailing, the Jets trailing, obviously. The drive ended up on a pass attempt from the QB. When he got up, he limped off of the field. Then we all remember the PJ Locke sack that essentially set them up for a field goal. And lucky for us, the Broncos are able to hold on as they had a missed field goal from the Jets kicker. So, overall, it was good. Yes, it was very lucky for them to have that, in fact, come down. 2 50-yard field goals that were both misses late in the game made it really, really interesting. But the Broncos defense really held them in this game. The Broncos offense clearly struggled a bit, and I think we're going to see those struggles. But as long as the Broncos defense can continue to shine and keep this team in the game, then who knows what's possible for the rest of the season. Also, Sean Payton said he wasn't going to talk about any game balls after the game, but everybody in the Broncos operations got a game ball after the win because of what happened, obviously, throughout the entire week with them being in West Virginia. So with the rain from Hurricane Helene approaching, the Broncos ended up having to practice on tennis and pickleball courts on Friday and Saturday, which was a little interesting for sure. So Sean Payton wanted to make sure that they got a shout out over there with the operations team as they dealt with the rain. We will move on though, because for the New York Jets, wide receiver Alan Lazard got an unsportsmanlike penalty on Sunday afternoon for doing a double gun celebration. So after picking up a first down. The league may not be too happy with this too when we have an example of it, but Lazard caught a 12-yard pass up the right side of the field to convert a first down and made a double gun gesture with his hands to celebrate. You can see a little bit of that graphic on the right side of your screen right now. But he was pretending to shoot in the air a few times before returning to the huddle. A flag was immediately thrown and sent the Jets back 15 yards. So Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Drake London was fined more than $14,000 for making what the league called a violent gesture in their win over the Philadelphia Eagles earlier this month. Lazard could be hit with a similar fine in the upcoming days. So nothing like that we want to see. Now, around the AFC West, what the heck is happening over the weekend? The Chiefs and the Chargers obviously played together, and the Raiders got a win. So Travis Kelce is now the Kansas City Chiefs career reception leader. No surprise, right? How many times have we seen Patrick Mahomes throw him the ball? Kelce had 7 receptions for 89 yards as the Chiefs rallied for a 17-10 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. I was like, what the heck is going on, Chargers? The fact that you guys were up 10-0, you guys picked off Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how many times. How many times did we see a fumble in that game? And the Chiefs still come out on top. Travis Kelce with his second catch, though, he passed Hall of Fame tight end Tony Gonzalez for the franchise mark. He was off to a slow start statistically during the first 3 games this season, making only 8 catches for 69 yards. But Kelce is closing in on 2 additional Kansas City franchise records as well. He's got 74 touchdown receptions, trailing only Gonzalez's 75. Now, the Browns, they were the latest team to travel to the Sin City as losers. So quarterback Deshaun Watson was sacked on 4th and 3 from the Raiders' 9 by Las Vegas. Charles showed in with 35 seconds remaining to put in the final nail in the coffin of a 2016 Raiders win. The Browns had a 1st and 10 at the Raiders 16 coming out of the 2-minute warning. And then Watson and center Nick Harris had a miscommunication on the snap, leading to a 7-yard loss. From there, Watson and Amari Cooper connected on 3rd down to put the ball at the Las Vegas 9, where Watson was flushed out of the pocket to the left and never had a chance to get off the pass. Again, the Raiders go on to win this one after an interception, and Watson was sacked 3 times as well. So just a little bit of a bummer for the Raiders to walk away victorious. And then for the Chiefs, listen, I don't want to root for the Chargers ever, but I also will root for them when they are playing the Kansas City Chiefs, as they now remain undefeated. So a little bit of a bummer if you are looking around the AFC West, but the Broncos will be excited to take on the Raiders this upcoming weekend on Sunday back here in the Mile High City. All right, let's go now to some baseball, because a 13-2 thrashing at the hands of the National League West champion Los Angeles Dodgers sealed their fate Saturday night for the Rockies to hit 100 losses. It was loss number 100 with one final outing left Sunday afternoon at Coors Field. Colorado looked poised to avoid 100 losses after taking the first 2 games of the series with the Diamondbacks back on September 16th and 17th. At that point, Colorado had to go 4-6 in their final 10 games to avoid the second triple-digit loss season in club history. But the Rockies dropped the finale to the Arizona and then lost 2 of the 3 in the series against against the Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals before losing Friday and Saturday to Los Angeles. Here's the weird thing, though. LA took the field Saturday, having clinched the number 1 seed already in the National League postseason by Philadelphia 6-3 loss. So you're like, all right, well, season's already like going for them. They're going to try and take a break. No. They definitely came in and said, no, we're about to slaughter everybody down there at Coors Field. And boy, oh boy, did it feel like that with that 13-2 thrashing, like I mentioned. But it was also the final night for the Rockies to wear the current City Connect jerseys that everybody has kind of come to know and love. So the green and white one, there's a little purple trim on it. And when they originally came out, everybody was like, what the heck are these? And then I feel like people kind of bought into them and started liking them. But essentially, it had evoked comparison to the Colorado license plate. And now it's the final time you will see them, as Colorado will introduce a new City Connect look next year. Going on to the NBA now, we did see a blockbuster trade over the weekend with the Knicks acquiring All-Star center Karl Anthony Towns from the Timberwolves. Did not expect to see anything like this happening before the season starts, but essentially, this is good news for the Denver Nuggets. Get the Timberwolves out of there, get Karl Anthony Towns out of Minnesota. In exchange, the T-Wolves get an all-star of their own, forward Julius Randle, along with guard Dante DiVincenzo and a 2025 first-round pick. When the deal is finalized, the Charlotte Hornets will also be involved to help make the deal work financially. The trade shifts the NBA landscape just 1 week before training camp begins. So interesting for sure to see Karl Anthony Towns heading out of Minnesota. I'm like, oh, interesting. Let's see. Let's get to it. Good morning, Miss RV, soon to be Mrs. RV. Yes, good morning to everybody. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on this Monday. Victory Monday. Go Buffs, go Broncos. You guys, can we talk about the Colorado Buffaloes? I cannot believe we didn't do anything on them. That feels like a lifetime ago, first of all. Saturday feels like a lifetime ago with everything that happened yesterday for the Broncos. But yes, in fact, the Colorado Buffaloes get the win. They only have 1 loss on the season to Nebraska. Coach Prime, you got to award him his roses on this day because they were able to get it done, especially with terrible weather conditions. Real quick, though, has everybody seen the videos going on with Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and Cam Newton? The fact that they're like blowing off Cam Newton left and right. I watched those videos all weekend long. It was really fascinating. Highly recommend you looking it up. So yeah, super, super interesting. Oh, I know. R.I.P. to Montembeau at 58 years old, died from brain cancer. They announced that this morning. So obviously our thoughts and prayers are with his entire family as well. 58 is far, far, far too young. And obviously a legend for the Denver Nuggets. Let's see. Who would have thought we would be 2-2 after starting 0-2? Keep it up, Broncos. You got to believe the one thing I really do like about Bo Nix is that like Sean Payton is annoyed of, his confidence never does lax. It feels like he's always in the game. He never lets it get too big for him. He goes through the highs and lows with every single pass. You really got to give it to him. And I love that he gave credit to the defense because really that is why they were able to win the game for sure. McGlinchey goes out and team gives up 0 sacks. I don't know. I kind of mentioned that also. I do think it's a little interesting that now it feels like McGlinchey's gone, and yet they've also figured out how to make the offensive line work. I don't know. I'm not going to say it. Let's see. On Friday, we made picks on who would be the receiving ends of Bo Nix. First touchdown pass, Rachel had Vele, who didn't play. I know, such a bummer. Troy had Mims and Alex had Little Jordan. I selected Sutton, and he threw his first one to Cortland Sutton. Indeed. Congratulations on making that pick. So great to see. Need to get better in the rain. Worse than it should have been. Use a glove or something. Definitely going to be interesting to see what they do for weather moving forward when it comes to Bo Nix. They obviously, if you were watching on TV, you saw them bring out the pocket for him to use. I don't know if his hands were cold. I don't know if it was just super slippery too. But they definitely have to figure out something. He's got to be able to play in the elements, which you would think because he played at Oregon that he would be able to. Let's see. Good news on a bidet. Good the thing to take from this, Javonte step up and ran angry, which was what we needed to see. Badie taking a kidney shot, probably just precautionary. Yes, happy to have him obviously returning back to the Mile High City. That was big. He just got promoted to the 53-man roster. So hopefully he'll be out there this week, but we will see what ends up happening. All right, there are so many comments, and I appreciate you guys so freaking much. So thank you. Come hang out with me. It's James Marilat and I at 12 o'clock for coffee break, Marilat Monday. Let's see what the identity of this Denver Broncos team is and see how James is feeling. We know he's been very critical of Sean Payton. Let's see how he feels about the game plan for Bo Nix, but also give our roses to Vance Joseph because VJ has done a phenomenal job. All right, that's going to do it though. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and we will see you guys at 12 o'clock.